Last June, I was contacted by Mitch Lane, who is a member of the Fulton Friendship Masonic Lodge in Park Ridge, New Jersey. He had a project and possibly I might be interested in it. He described the room being 36 by 62 feet, 16 high-foot ceilings. And when I came down here, it was even bigger than I had pictured it in my head. And I just knew this was the challenge I'd been waiting for. I started out making sketches, I made mock-ups, I use photographs and draw on them so it makes it easier for someone to be able to see my ideas in their space. And at one point, Mitch said to me that it was a little bit scary because it was like I was inside of his head. And that was like a turning point because I knew then we were on the same page. I started with the ceiling. It was the biggest and most overwhelming and challenging part of this project. It's a flat ceiling, but it's made to look dimensionally like the ceiling opens and you can see the sky. The Temple of Solomon is the base stone for all of the traditions and beliefs of the Masonic Brotherhood. So the orientation of the temple, the north wall is very important and it sets the tone for the entire temple. So going from the north side, which is the cold side, we started with a night sky. There's lots of little stars in there, hundreds of them. There are two custom constellations that were added. One is the squaring compass. The second constellation is referred to as Euclid's 47th proposition, more familiar to us as the theory of Pythagoras. When that part was done, I moved on to the columns. The columns are an exercise in trompe-l'oeil painting. They go from descending to ascending order in difficulty, starting with the Doric, then the Ionic, then the Corinthian, and then the most elaborate, the composite capital. And then I painted ornamentation that connected the entire room to the columns. I came up with the idea of blocks because the temple would have been built like that. And the blocks took longer than any single part, including the ceiling. But it really does do its job. And I couldn't have been happier when it was done, so I could finally get into some color and start with the murals. The first one that I did on the east wall, called Sunrise over Old Jerusalem, you can see how it looks like the blocks are tipping in, that they're carved in, and again, it's a flat wall. I picked a softer palette, but wanted to make sure there was enough color and keeping in mind the blues that already existed in the room. The second mural is called The Sheaf of Wheat. We see a shepherd sitting with his few sheep, and in the water we see one person who represents the enemy advancing and trying to claim that particular piece of territory. The third mural is on the north wall, which is a place of darkness, and it represents the burial of Hiram Abiff, who was the architect who designed the temple for Solomon, who was murdered protecting the secrets of the temple. The people who killed him left a sprig of acacia to mark the site with the intention of coming back and moving his grave further away from the temple, but before that happened, they were captured, Hiram Abiff's body was recovered, and justice was served. The murals might seem like the most detailed part of the work, but it was actually the easiest part of the entire project. I would say that painting this project is the highlight of my mural painting career. It manages to include the three things that are amongst my favorites to paint. I love doing cloudscapes, I love painting murals in full color, and I adore painting trompe-l'oeil. So to have an opportunity to paint trompe-l'oeil at this scale and successfully bring the room to life is an achievement that I'm very proud of.